Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another edition of our podcast series. We're going to try to be doing these podcasts on a weekly basis. We want to make sure that you guys are informed. Please share these with your colleagues. I don't care if they're members or non-members. What I want is to have professional educators be as aware of what's going on in our district as possible and what their union is doing for them. First thing I'd like to talk to you about is lesson plans. Okay, I want you to know that I go from school to school. Lesson plans always seems to be one of the top items that people want to discuss. For some reason this year, our principals, or some principals, have taken it upon themselves to add layer and layer and layer of data that they want to see, things that they want to see, elements that they want to see in their lesson plans, in your lesson plans. We do have contract language about lesson plans, and I do expect everybody to follow their contract and submit their lesson plans when asked. However, some of the requirements that are being asked are unnecessary, they're frivolous, and oddly enough, the people over at Teaching and Learning at the district, in our discussions, and this has been the topic of discussion and is now presently an item for bargaining, they understand and they agree with PCTA that good lesson planning is something that is obvious when you walk in and you do an observation and you see that the teacher that's conducting that class is well prepared and is engaging their students. That's how you can tell that there's been good planning involved. So the elements that are in the Marzano framework, some of them, first of all, there's only 3 bullets that are pertaining to lesson plans. One of them is the use of data, which does not have to be in a lesson plan. It could be on your wall. Most of you guys have something on your wall indicating data. So it doesn't have to be in the lesson plan. We don't need to be spending all our time preparing lessons. It's not a good use of our time. Okay, so they seem to understand that. We seem to be in general agreement, and I do believe there will be a resolution on this soon. But of course, there's always going to be those principals that are going to hold tight to what they think is their authority, and they're going to insist. I'm not going to tell you to not do what you're told, but I am going to say that we do have a contract, and if you're bold enough to follow your contract, and a principal is bold enough to try to discipline you or hurt your observation because you are following the contract and not adding all these extra layers, then you make sure you take a picture of your eye observation and you contact us right away, and we will do what we do, and that is to argue on your behalf. Change is not easy. They'll fight back, but I do believe that unless you stand up for yourself, win or lose, nothing will change. So if we want to see change, we're going to need to take action. Second thing I'd like to talk to you about is biweekly assessments, or AKA toxic testing, or AKA instructional time thief, or AKA district-sponsored child abuse. Biweekly assessments stress out teachers, they stress out kids. Parents and teachers, went up to Tallahassee and told them we were against the toxic testing. For some reason, some of our principals and I believe area superintendents, who are the ones that have called the shots for those principals, I believe that they feel that they're not getting the message that we sent up to Tallahassee, and they are, forcing people to engage in this activity. We know that it blows up the pacing guide. There's no way to stay on pace with a pacing guide when you're, every couple of weeks you're taking a test, and if you're in elementary school, you're taking it on multiple subjects, so it's multiple tests. And by the way, a pacing guide is just that. It is supposed to be a guide. So hello, isn't people? I hope I'm coming in clear here. Do you understand that the words that are coming out of my mouth? A guide. It's a guide. Please stop terrorizing our teachers and stop talking to our students while we are trying to teach. You guys are sucking out the air in every room that you walk into, and you're leaving teachers really demoralized. And you're intimidating the kids. So, I appreciate if you knock it off a little bit, or at least scale it back. And this is another issue I feel that parents would be our allies should we choose to engage them. I also want to talk to you today about surveys. And I understand, I get it, that people are afraid. You're always afraid that your principal is going to find out your answers to your survey. I really don't think the district has time to go through all the answers and try to figure out who exactly said what. But it goes beyond that, because we here at PCTA did put out a survey a while back, and oddly enough, we asked for folks to give us their last 4 digits of their social security number so that we could check and see and make sure that they were not taking the surveys over and over again and making our data skewed. So we asked for those 4 digits, and the replies that we were getting on these surveys, people didn't want to take it because they were afraid that with those 4 digits that the district would be finding out what it is, how they answered their survey. Well, again, let me stress that this was on the PCTA PESPA website, okay? I really hope that there isn't anybody out there that thinks that I'm the guy that's going to rat them out to administration. So I'm asking you all to be honest. Be honest when you take these surveys, and take the surveys. Please take the surveys. I can act on surveys. I can act on that data. That's one thing this district respects, is data. I'd like to be able to go to them and say, look, this is a problem. I can prove it because this is the data that came from the survey that you put out. So, change will not happen by itself. It requires you guys to do some of the work. So please, you don't have to stand tall, but you all have to stand. I want to talk to you about politics, okay? It's not my favorite subject either. But the fact of the matter is, politics impacts every aspect of your job. How you're evaluated, how much you're paid, the curriculum that you teach. There is nothing about your job that isn't decided by people up in Tallahassee, okay? So I want to make sure that you all understand who it is that we support, okay? Because we have one issue and one issue only, okay? It's not a Republican issue, it's not a Democrat issue. It is a bipartisan issue. We have one issue. We only analyze how people vote and what their stand is on public education. That's it. You can certainly vote for anybody else you want. You don't have to go with our endorsements, okay? We're just giving you the information on who will be best for you in your job, okay? So for Senate District 16, Amanda Murphy. And for House District 66, our PCTA member, our brother, Alex Heron. And for House District 67, another PCTA member, Dawn Douglas, okay? We have Jennifer Webb running in the House District 69. We have 2 school board candidates we'd like to see elected. That would be Jeff Larson, also a union member, and Nicole Carr in Districts 2 and 3, okay? Here's what we're up against. For-profit charter school companies are trying to dictate who sits on our school board. A political action committee called Inform Florida has been paying for mailers for school board candidates. This PAC has raised $98,000 from contributors like Charter School USA, Matron Music, PNT Construction, Smart Management, and other pro-charter organizations. Okay, PNT builds charter schools. Smart Management runs charter schools. Charter Schools USA, come on guys, you get the picture here. When you get a mailer from a candidate, okay, like this one here, I want you to look at who paid for it, okay? I need you to look at the fine print so you paid for it. If it's from Inform Florida or any other PAC that seeks to defund public education, toss it and make sure you vote for the other candidate. For example, this is Ed Hooper, okay? Ed Hooper served on the House of Representatives, okay? Now he's running for Senate. He spent enough money on this campaign. This is about the 15th or 16th one of these that came to my house. I even got a handwritten letter from Ed asking for my support. Oddly enough, this is the same Ed Hooper, this gentleman who's claiming to be all about educating our kids and public education. Well, this is the same Ed Hooper that, as a member of the House of Representatives, voted in favor of taking $1.3 billion out of public education. Same Ed Hooper that stuck his hand in our pocket and took the 3% FRS tax, okay? That hit everybody's wallet. This is the same Ed Hooper that voted to place every teacher on annual contract. Let him go without just cause or due process. This isn't something that teachers, educators, ESPs, nobody should forgive, okay? If they can afford to spend this kind of money, they got a good shot that they're going to win. The only thing that's going to stop them is you. You got to get out. You got to vote for public education friendly people. They're coming after public education. Why do you think it's been getting harder and harder to work here? We are losing teachers. Eventually, we are going to crumble. And it's because they are coming after public education. Why? Because there's a lot of money to be spent, a lot of money to be made by privatizing. And we can either support candidates that support making money on the backs of our kids, or we can support public education friendly. The cornerstone of our democracy is public education. We need to support those candidates. So that's it for today, but we will see you next week. Till then, take care.